Y'all, the ocean was on fire this weekend, and that somehow only managed to keep people's attention for like 12 minutes. People saw that video, they were like, is this a movie? No, it's real life. That's horrifying. Someone should do something about it. Let's meme it. And some of those were just like top tier content that helps, all of us deal with the hellscape that is reality right now. And then Mark Zuckerberg did this, and everyone was like, what? Why is he doing a normal human thing, but still he seems like a lizard person? And among other things, I think it highlights how overloaded, exhausted, and desensitized we've become to the news cycle, which is why today I'm going to try to give you the last 72 hours of news as fast as possible. Your one dose of poison today, so you can hopefully go back to whatever the hell it was you were doing beforehand that makes your life better. And so as we jump into it, I just want to say a massive thank you to the fantastic sponsor of today's show, Public, and more specifically, public.defranco.com. Start thinking about your future today and just sign up using that link and you'll get a free stock. More on that later. But first up, we have Sha'Carri Richardson, a name that most people did not even know 2 weeks ago, but then she blew up on the scene, absolutely dominating in her signature race, the women's 100 meter. She was gonna head to the Olympics, go to Tokyo, but then you had the news that she was suspended from the Olympic team for 1 month due to a positive marijuana test. With Richardson taking accountability, apologizing, explaining that she used marijuana at the trials in Oregon where it is legal to cope with the performance pressure and the unexpected death of her biological mother. This, of course, has stirred a massive debate, but my general reaction is I understand that the rules are the rules, but the rules here are stupid. Like, this wasn't a hot dog eating contest, which, by the way, congratulations again to Joey Chestnut. This was a foot race. You lost a foot race to someone that was high? In my eyes, she destroyed the competition while handicapping herself, because if marijuana in any way was a performance-enhancing drug in this field, last year during the pandemic, I would have broken the land speed record. And understand, I get it, the rules are the rules, but the rules are based off of decades of ignorance and fear-mongering regarding marijuana. It's as simple as that for me. Then, you should know, in an interview yesterday, Dr. Anthony Fauci said that about 99.2% of all COVID deaths right now in the United States involve people who have not been vaccinated. My response to that statement and this news is, one, well, yeah, duh, that was the whole thing. That's why we wanted people to get vaccinated. And two, yeah, screw it. Okay, let's keep everything open. Myself and people like me have spent the past year and a half saying, please, just wear a mask. Yeah, go out, but please wear a mask. Please get vaccinated. It's mainly for other people, right? It's not about just keeping yourself safe. It's about other people. But guess what? It's July now. In the United States, at least, most other people have been vaccinated. And the people in this country that have still not gotten vaccinated, right? They're eligible, they could get it, and they have decided, no, they have made it abundantly clear that they want to be the control group in the experiment that is COVID-19 and the vaccinations. And to that, I say, okay, great. Like a lot of people, I think I'm just done with trying to convince someone to get the vaccine. Like all the potential debates and the science that could have convinced someone that was on the line or said they were on the line, it feels like it should have happened at this point. I mean, hell, governments realized, okay, that is a road that's not getting us across the line. What if we gave people $1 million? Let's turn it into a lottery. Maybe that'll get more people. And understand, if you're watching this as someone that is not vaccinated, this is not me trying to shame you or convince you or anything. I'm just letting you know that I don't care what happens to you. You have made your choice. Especially if you happen to be one of these people that are making yourself out to be the victim of the situation because you have chosen not to get the vaccine. For example, as I was finishing up today's show, I had people sending me Corinna Kopf's tweet. Of course, we've talked about her with OnlyFans and such. She's massively successful. She has a really large following, and she was seemingly tweeting about why she's not going to get this vaccine. Writing, no one talks about the anxiety some people face when asked to take a vaccine. We are consistently asked to respect people's feelings and personal choices, but all that is thrown out the window when someone's nervousness is taken as selfishness. And when people called her anti-vax, she went on to say that she has all the other vaccines, she plans on vaccinating her kids. And my reaction to Corinna and other people like Corinna is, at this point, I don't think it's even selfishness. I think it's just stupidity, and that you're free to be stupid. Right? You're free to do that, free to decide what you put in your body, but also people are free to then make fun of you if you're gonna publicly talk about it. And well, I think it would take someone that's a special kind of stupid to look to a Corinna Kopf and go like, that's where I should get any sort of information regarding vaccine, because that would probably be as beneficial as going to a Phase K or RiceGum about what shitcoins they should invest in, especially ones that save the kids. But where I'll actually end this story isn't with something about Corinna, right? This is more about the group as a whole, whether it be anti-vax in general or vaccine hesitant with this specific vaccine. We have hard data, double-blind studies, all the good stuff. You have anecdotal Facebook stories that get shared a lot in your town. And you can dislike this video all you want, because I've seen what you like and you share, and I rejoice in not having your support. Also, over the weekend, you had the CDC warning people about a non-COVID thing, and that was this GIF of a young girl apparently having diarrhea down a water slide with the caption, "Don't leave your mark at the pool this summer." With a caption from the CDC recommending don't swim or let your kids swim if sick with diarrhea. And while I want to be like, oh wow, the CDC is so dumb, while yes, anecdotal, I've talked to a few people that have, done lifeguard duty at public pools and stuff, and apparently this is actually a problem. Like we all know, people nasty. If you're getting in a pool with other people, you're probably swimming in at least a fraction of their pee. But we thought the line stopped at poop. But pun intended, apparently not. Then, in what feels like the now weekly news that's meant to get you to click on an article to make you be like, oh, I could have been rich and I'm an idiot because when I was a kid, I actually played with the kid toy thing rather than putting it in some hermetically sealed container news. An extremely rare sealed copy of Nintendo's first Legend of Zelda game, which was released in 1987, has gone up for auction for $110,000. Though notably, the auction house said this one is especially rare due to its incredibly rare variant that holds early production status. Going on to say that this version, the NES-R, was only produced for a few months before being replaced by a new version. And while technically there is an earlier variant that does exist, there's only believed to be a single copy. So, in effect, the variant of the game being offered now is the earliest sealed copy one could realistically hope to obtain. But yeah, ultimately, the main thing here, and it could be motivational or demotivational depending on who you are as a human being, but just let this be your daily reminder that nothing inherently has worth. The only reason this thing sells for $110,000 or $200,000 or $1 million is because one space monkey was willing to take his number of rocks and give it to another space monkey. And then a lot of the other space monkeys go, wow, that's $1 million thing. I mean, most of you wouldn't pay $1 million for it, but someone would, and apparently that's the cost now. Which, actually kind of perfect segue here. We had YouTuber and entrepreneur Nadeshot responding to backlash over the weekend on social media over the pricing of his 100 Thieves Foundations collection. And this, in part because over the weekend he replied to a user who tweeted, Nadeshot and 100 Thieves should be ashamed due to a $135 hoodie that was listed on his site. With Nadeshot responding, that's a $135 anorak, not a hoodie. We are an apparel brand, not a merch company. We hire the best designers, we work with the best manufacturers, and we use the best materials. With that user actually thanking him for the clarification, but then also adding, still ridiculous pricing and out of the price range of most. Fleece shorts for $65, come on. Ultimately, this is another example of two things. One, the market will decide what the market decides. Most all apparel companies understand that it's really just a math equation. How many people can I get to buy something at $135 compared to if that same product was sold, let's say, for $100? Or if you have essentially the same product priced both ways and you sell the exact same amount, you're talking about a price difference of about $35,000 in net revenue. But the hope there is that if you price something lower, it is more accessible, more people will buy it. But to make the same amount of profit from that cheaper item, they have to sell 350 more of that item. Although you can't guarantee that the situation is as simple as that because, once again, nothing inherently has worth and value is only attributed because one space monkey told another space monkey, okay, I'll give you that much. And part of the reason why some brands may sell compared to others is because the cost makes them exclusionary. Then in, oh no, why is this celebrity trending news? We had Mia Khalifa trending. And here there appears to be some confusion. A lot of the most recent stuff being kind of like horny bonk memes, people confused why she was trending. It appears this actually stemmed from yesterday when, to celebrate July 4th, Mia Khalifa posted on her story,
Happy 4th of July. I just want to remind you guys on this beautiful Independence Day that all America does is destabilize other countries and then treat refugees and immigrants from those destabilized countries like second-class citizens and trash.
And obviously, with posting that on July 4th, that stirred, let's call it a lively debate. One that, like with any of today's stories, you can continue in the comments down below. Play nice though, or don't. I'm not your daddy. Then pour one out for the homie Jeff Bezos and use whatever you got on hand, whether it be a 40, a drink, if you work at Amazon, maybe one of your pee bottles. And that is because today the founder of Amazon, the $1.75 trillion empire, has officially stepped down as the company's CEO, with him being replaced by Andy Jassy, who previously headed Amazon Web Services as its CEO. And this news and transition is happening at a very pivotal moment for Amazon because yes, Amazon is so massive, they're crushing it. They're actually on their way to become the #1 employer in the United States, only behind Walmart. But this is also happening at a time where Amazon's really facing unprecedented pressure both from the public and employees, with it seeming like more and more employees by the day being outspoken about how shitty it is to work there. Right? I mean, there was a report that came out like 2-3 weeks ago that showed that their turnover for hourly employees was 150%. And so I think we'll see in the first 100 days if anything is drastically different under this new CEO. But also keep in mind, Bezos, who is the company's largest individual shareholder, still has a major presence on the board as its executive chair. But this is also freeing Bezos up for some other ventures, including he's going to the edge of space later this month with his other company, Blue Origin, which is very notable, but also all this news, it really shows that space is in some way like a billionaire's dick measuring contest. Right, Bezos was in the news because he was gonna be on this Blue Origin flight. Oh, this is big news. There was an auction. You could get a seat with Bezos. Right, everyone talking about this, and then fucking Richard Branson bursts through the door and shouts first, with it being reported that he's going to try to get to space first by 9 days on Virgin Galactic. Also, if you're wondering, yes, Branson has been asked that question.
Just one question. Are you trying to beat Jeff Bezos into space?
Jeff who?
Jeff Bezos.
Of course that's the reason, of course. The general public never remembers the second person to do anything. Though, this also isn't gonna be where the dick measuring contests end. If anything, it's just gonna turn into a dick measuring debate. Because reportedly, even if Branson does launch first, Bezos could argue that he didn't really go to space. And that's because Branson's Spaceship 2 doesn't reach the 62-mile altitude most often considered the edge of outer space. But with Blue Origin, Bezos would. He would pass what is known as the Kármán line. We also got the news that former To Catch a Predator host Chris Hansen had to turn himself into police after a judge issued a warrant for his arrest when he failed to show up in court. And reportedly, this was because Hansen had been subpoenaed to explain why he hadn't given defense lawyers video evidence of a sting operation that he assisted on that involved 3 men who were charged with attempting to solicit underage girls for sex. But with this, you have Hansen saying essentially this was all a miscommunication. But according to reports, Hansen had provided edited video, but one of the defendants demanded the full footage be handed over, arguing that it could provide exonerating evidence. With Hansen's lawyer saying that his failure to appear in court was due to a misunderstanding, and he was released from jail with the warrant rescinded shortly after he turned himself in, and he's actually been given 14 days to turn in the uncut video. Then in our what the fuck headline of the day, we've got our winner. Depraved prison guard pleads guilty to having sex with an inmate in front of other inmates. Though, I do want to note, I feel like everyone's been burying the lead with this story. Right, yeah, you have a California corrections officer, she was convicted, is gonna spend 210 days in jail, serving then 2 years of probation, saying yeah, when she should have been doing her job, she was having sex with an inmate in front of 11 other inmates, but she was going through a hard time in her marriage, saying it was never her intention to bring any harm or danger to the employees in the jail or anyone else in the jail. Except then in the next line of one of these articles, it reads, in addition to sex, Gonzalez reportedly gave the inmate razor blades and a cell phone, also adding she tipped him off of cell searches. Like, I get why the headline is what it is. It's a spin-off version of the classic attractive female teacher does something with a student that she's not supposed to do. But like, also she was in a position of power and she gave a convicted criminal a weapon and then told him how to keep it. That's the concern for me. As far as the sex, that's just an unorthodox crowd control measure. Also, on the note of high tensions, we had the news that around 200 members of the white supremacist group, the Patriot Front, marched in front of Philadelphia City Hall over the weekend wearing white face coverings, khakis, blue shirts, and tan hats. And though it appeared that they were the victims of a tiki torch shortage, according to Philadelphia police, that didn't stop the members from waving flags and chanting "Reclaim America," and the election was stolen. But also, reportedly, the march was cut short when angry onlookers started yelling at the men, some reportedly engaging in scuffles. Also, a police officer telling reporters that this large group of men eventually got scared by a handful of people that were yelling at them, saying these males felt threatened, and at one point, somebody threw a smoke bomb to cover their retreat, and they literally ran away from the people of Philadelphia. Which brings me to the 2 main points of this story. 1, yeah, fuck white supremacists, run away, you little bitches. And 2, I have a general rule in life. It is for my personal safety and well-being, and that is never fuck with Philly or someone from Philly. Philadelphia puts the Battery and Assault and Battery, if you know that history. And hell, most of that is just with rival sport teams, let alone fucking white supremacists. But ultimately, that is the end of today's show, other than 2 final things. 1, another big thank you to the sponsor of today's show, Public, and more specifically, publicdefranco.com. If you're looking to start investing in the stock market, or you want to leave another place that maybe dropped the ball drastically in the past year, go sign up at publicdefranco.com. It is the app that is both trying to democratize investing and actually cares about Joe and Jane Blow. And best of all, if you sign up, yes, you can start investing with as little as $1, $5, $50, or whatever, but even without putting a dime in, you'll get a free stock for signing up with Public. So there's that, and then the ultra final thing is, yeah, just thanks again for being a part of this. Hitting that like button to support the video, especially with a team coming in on a day they could have had off. Also, if you're new here or you just haven't done it yet, definitely hit that subscribe button. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.